welcome back. This is Open Your Eyes, and we're now venturing off into our second segment for the morning. Crime Stoppers Belize, and they're here to talk about mobile and web applications. We've got the pros in to tell us all about it. In with us is Denvor Fairweather, who is a board member of Crime Stoppers Belize, and Dean Boyce, board member as well of Crime Stoppers Belize. Guys, good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome. It's nice to have you in.
Thanks a lot for the invite.
We are hearing here, as a matter of fact, we're seeing mobile and web applications, which simply means the household terminology for you could get it on your phone, on your tablet.
Correct.
You could actually have this going around anywhere you go. That's when we hear the word mobile. So we're making it easy as possible. So let's venture off into Crime Stoppers Belize, what we do, and how easy we're making things for people to say something when they see something. Anybody, jump on it. Dean, you.
Okay. Now, Crime Stoppers started, it was actually a Rotary project. We picked up on Crime Stoppers as an implementation for Belize in 2004. Crime Stoppers have been around since 1976, which is when it started in the States. And although it started with the police force, Crime Stoppers as an organisation is separate from the police. So we are not involved directly in the police. Our objective is to facilitate the provision of information to the police, the representatives of our community that are trying to stop crime. So Crime Stoppers started in Belize. You dialed a telephone number.
Yeah.
The information that you provided was anonymous, so nobody knew who you were.
Yeah.
It was a tips for reward system, although not so many people actually bothered claiming the reward. Most of it was they just wanted to provide the information.
Yeah.
But the rewards were available, and we have a formula for making the payments. And you dialed a number, and you got through to a hotline in Miami. So again, he was offshore, so completely anonymous.
Yeah.
So you called the number, and it was a free telephone number, but it was a long 1-800 number.
Call 922.
So fairly recently, that was upgraded. So all you need to do now is call 922. So if it's an emergency, you still call 911. If it's something else and you want to provide the tip because you know something's happened, you call 922 now.
Yeah.
So from any phone in Belize. But that's okay, but it's still not ideal. There's a lot of people that
Still
actually...
dated.
It's a little bit dated, and people still don't want to talk to somebody, and it's very difficult. And although the people in Miami are experienced ex-detectives, they're still asking questions, well, what about this and what about that? And you haven't got time to collect your thoughts. So again, an American designed a web-based app, so you download it onto your phone, or you can actually use it just by going onto a computer and going onto P3 Tips, which is the name of either the app or the website.
Okay.
And the system works. So let's say you download the app onto your phone.
Okay.
So the first thing you do is you go in, and it's free just from whatever store you download it
Apple
from.
Store.
Correct, that's right. So you go, and the first thing you get to is it asks you for a user ID. You make up your own user ID. You're the only person that will know that.
Don't have to put any information about yourself
Absolutely.
in the app.
And the key thing is absolutely anonymous.
Yes.
Nobody will know who you are, right, when you give the tip. So you go in, you put your own code in. It will then give you a number of boxes that you can complete, where you put in the name of the person, vehicle number. You can even upload documents, pictures, short video clips.
Really? Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Nice.
Right, because ultimately the police need good information.
Yeah.
They've got a much better chance of getting a conviction if they've got good information.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay, so there's no human interface here, so that you don't go through this Miami, but you do go through a computer that's hosted in the States. And this is actually operated in multiple countries now. So Belize has sort of picked this up. We're implementing here in Belize. And what we think, it will make a big difference to who and how many people will make the tips going forward. And it'll also make a big difference to the information, quality information that the police are going to get. So the information goes through a computer server up in the States. Will then be
They'll be the ones to sort it through.
Automatically. No, you won't have people sitting there going through it.
So it's automatically forwarded to
correct.
the local
And there's
police
no
department.
information. It doesn't know your phone number. It's got no information on your GPS coordinates. There's absolutely no information that will identify the phone or the computer. There's no IP addresses. There's nothing. So the information will be routed back to the person in Belize, the Crime Stoppers coordinator, who then has an opposite number, we'll say, within the police department. Okay, so the individual will have gone in, they'll have given their tip, and when they give the tip and they press submit, it will give them a reference number. So at the end of that little process, they log out. Okay, so it's sitting there. If somebody finds your phone, they don't know what you've done because they haven't got your user ID, which only you will know. And when you next go on to the system, you go in on user ID, you type in user ID, it will then call up the tips that you've given.
Okay.
So, for example, if you wanted to add additional information at a later date, you can append and resubmit some additional information.
Because you have a reference number for the one
because
already
you've got the
submitted.
ref for the one already submitted. And the police coordinator will then make sure it is given to the right people within the police, chasing them up, all right? The police may have some additional information that they need. They're hoping you may have. So you may get a communication coming back.
I was going to ask,
Right, again through that same system. Only you will see it. Okay, and they don't know who you are. All they know is that this tip came in, right? And they will then ask for, and you can ignore it or not. You might say, oh, okay, I can get that.
Or that's all I know.
Or you might say, oh, it's all you know, or that's all you're prepared to give.
Now,
Okay,
this is
a couple technical points. The system, as he said, the server is in the States. It's a company that has developed this, and it's being used worldwide. Belize is the 8th country that is using it, and it's something that Crime Stoppers in different parts of the world have been using, especially the States, Canada, and a couple other Caribbean countries. In regards to people saying, all right, well, if I use my phone, you know, they could track my IP address or stuff like that. One of the specific features of the system is that when you log in or initially, it asks you to choose your country, and that's how. So it collects the server collects tips from people all over the world. But it will route the tips that are made from somebody who identifies themselves as they're doing it from Belize. It's not tracked through IP address or GPS data. Secondly, the way how the system works in terms of one of the frequently asked questions and how it's answered. No, does the mobile app capture the tipster's GPS location? It does not. Actually, the system does not collect any kind of GPS or IP data. It also, when you upload a photo or image, it erases that information before it goes on the server. So there's no way to track the person who made a tip in any way, digitally, no? Or electronically. So that's just a clarification.
So the digital footprint is removed from any media I upload.
It's scrubbed as a part of the way how the system operates, because the important thing is anonymity, whether or not it's by phone or mobile device.
You know, Crime Stoppers, just setting, you know, looking at the larger picture, is such an important reminder to us of how crime can only be, or fighting crime is enhanced when you have community involvement. And what it does is just set up a separate entity. So we have a feeling of security. We're not dealing directly with the police. We're not dealing directly with anybody here who may know us, know our family, know our history, know our background, and any possible repercussions. How have you seen, since 2004 to now, the uptake of the use of Crime Stoppers, from the time it was a 1-800 number to 922? Are we having people consciously contribute towards helping to minimize or mitigate crime?
The amount of let's say tips that we receive monthly has not gone up 100 or 200 fold.
Yeah.
But there is a gradual improvement. What we have noticed is that we're doing the official launch of the P3 tips now, but we actually signed on to it about 3 months ago, and we did a soft launch where board members and people that we know directly were notified and asked to use it. And what we've seen is that 10% of our tips over the past few months have come from the app. So I think us launching it now and doing the public awareness and getting the word out there, especially with the fact that people are more tech savvy and it's at their fingertips. The objective is for everybody in Belize to install the app, because you never know when you will be on occasion where something is happening where that information needs to be relayed to the police to help them to investigate and help bring that case to justice or solve a crime.
But you're right. You're right on the bat there, Denvor. I think that a lot of people want for things to be done. We want for crime to be at a halt. We want to see perpetrators being captured. But at the same time, we're reluctant. We don't want to say anything because we're so afraid. So this platform at this particular point now is actually giving you the ability to make that report or say something or do something about the perpetrator that you know. And
see something, say something.
Yes, see something, say something. Stop something.
Yes.
And you're actually doing that without anybody pinpointing that it's you who said something. So let's get to the app. It's in the Google Store or Apple Store.
Yeah,
Play
Apple Store. Yeah, P3 tips.
It's a P3. So all you need to do is type in
P3 tips.
Alright.
Yes.
P, the letter P, the number
letter
3.
P. Right.
And you move on from there.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right, so we're
Here
gonna
we go.
try P3 tips. Pops up. I just put P3.
And the P3, by the way, is 3P. It's public, police, private sector. So those are the 3 Ps. So P3 tips. And it's because the public are the ones that will be contributing the information.
Yes.
The police will act upon it. The private sector.
All right, download it already.
There you go. It's
Yeah,
actually,
as easy as that.
it's very easy. You just select Belize, select your passcode, and you're done.
Yeah.
That's right. And we think this is going to make a big difference to how many people are providing information. The police quite often will say, we actually know who's done what.
Yeah.
We can't prove it. We've got no hard data. And nobody's going to go into them and say, I've got a photo. At the moment, they're not going to say, I've got a document that shows they did this. Right? But they could do with this. Easily.
And that is the added factor that this offers, the mobile app offers, that you can submit actual evidence.
Correct.
Because how would you have done that over the phone? If I have a video, I'd have to make some kind of contact with someone locally.
Yes, that's right.
So I'm really sure, and these days everybody pulls out their cell phone to take
everything.
photos, audio recordings.
And it's unfortunate that to this point, a lot of the usage of the devices has been for frivolous purposes to showcase somebody's unfortunate situation. However, now you could use that same being there when something happens to help solve a crime or solve a negative situation. And so it's just that sense of civic duty being applied opposed to just for entertainment or for ridiculing people.
No, definitely.
So what kind of crimes can you submit tips for?
Anything and everything. There's actually a checklist. Sorry.
There's a list of about 37 crimes. If you go back to your app, you'll notice there's burglary, theft, homicide, the more common crimes. However, you could also, I believe there is other.
I was gonna ask.
So you could, and there is a section where you put in the details. So it starts off with a category, but you could put in whatever detail. So if it's something that is not categorized, you could still put the information. And the more detail you put, the better it is for the investigators.
One of the things that definitely people want to hear. Okay, so we're giving this tip. I'm making sure this tip goes in. And there's normally a reward for it, or let's talk about that aspect of things.
Okay, so and there are a number of people that the reward will motivate them. So we have a formula that we follow. So it's up to $2,000 for, let's say, a murder. For a lesser crime, it'll be a lesser amount of money. It has to be until they get a conviction. So obviously, the more information the police have, the more chance of getting a conviction there is. So the more chance of reward. And there's a very confidential route for you to collect your reward. So you would be advised via the same methodology that a reward is available, and then you would make arrangements to go and collect it. And people don't know how it is or how it's paid over. It's very quiet.
But what's interesting, you said people don't normally collect it.
They don't normally bother. It's them. They were more interested in contributing and making sure.
I think most of the reports that we've had are like, let's say we've had like some of the more common types of tips we've received so far include like some child abuse, theft, drug dealing. So I suppose when a neighbor is aware that there's something affecting their neighborhood, and they want to have it dealt with, but don't want the police to show up at their door and their neighbors to say, "Oh, that's a person who," So that's the way it has been used to this point. However, as I said, I mean, you could be on Albert Street or on a back street and somebody robs somebody, and you realize that isn't fair, and that endangers yourself and your family and your neighborhood. You can then report it if you're able to take a picture, do a video. That's the way how this app can help.
I know that we usually only remind people about Crime Stoppers when it comes to missing persons, but you could basically report tips on anything. My question is, how involved do you have to be? Is it a matter of overhearing something that may help in the investigation, or do I have to actually be a witness and have evidence?
No, there's no need to be a witness. Basically, as I said, the platform, the 922 and the P3 tips, is to help the police have information to be able to do investigation. You always hear they are investigating and they need information on suspects and stuff like that. So it doesn't require you to be involved or to show up at court or anything like that. It's really providing the information so that the crimes can be investigated and hopefully bring the perpetrators to justice. And in terms of the app, the way, as Dean said, you will have a login, like your own password to use the app. And then any tip that you had submitted, you could then look back at it to see if it has progressed to a reward process. And there is the software allows for if our coordinator gives information to the police, and the police, I think there was a tip that came in a few weeks ago. There was a first name given for the perpetrator, but the police needed, if possible, a second name, like a title. And so they were able to then send a message back to that tipster through their app, and they were able to then provide the additional information. But as I said, there's no way for anybody to call you directly or to track you down personally.
Which was a weakness with the original system. We dialed 922, so they didn't actually have a methodology of getting back to you. You would have to call in each time to check up and see what the progress was. Whereas here, you can get the progress reports. You just go and log into your app, or you see a message. If you wish, you can actually provide an email. It's only a voluntary thing, and because rather than keep going in and checking to see for updates, you would then get a message to your email account saying, not giving information, just say, check your P3 tips app, right? And then because there's a correspondence, there's some sort of communication. And that's a voluntary thing. You don't have to do it.
I just think there's so much that we can do in terms of trying to help with the crime situation, and this is really going to be essential. One of the key points, and I know you said it in the beginning, but we should reiterate it, is that this information is passed to a server outside of the country. It is. It's first in Miami. You said the calls. They go to a call center,
and that still operates.
And the server is also outside of the country. So basically,
and it operates for several different countries. So it's not monitored for any specific purpose or reason, and everything is routed digital.
Because we can't minimize the fear that people have in being recognized as someone. They call them snitches. In Belize.
And it's strictly number. It's no number. number. It's not with your number, so they can't
No, it's
pinpoint
not
it.
with
No
the
number, no
telephone
IP
number.
address,
Right.
Yeah.
no GPS information.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's very essential that we stress on that point, because this is the reason why a lot of people might not want to be a tipster, because they don't want to be pinpointed to say, you know what, I'm in harm's way. No number. It's strictly.
And the only reason they know you're from Belize is because when you set up
Yeah.
the app in the
Yeah,
first
yes.
place, you selected Belize and said you're from Belize.
Yeah.
And in fact, if you're in the States, for example, and you see something going on and you actually report it, it will automatically come to the coordinator in Belize, because
Yeah.
that's where you said you were.
Yeah.
It doesn't know you're in the States.
Yeah, which is why you should be honest with the app from the beginning, at least with your country, because I know people usually set up other countries sometimes to.
It doesn't help. So if you actually said you were from the US, even though you believe, it'll go to a coordinator in the US.
which means your tip won't be helpful.
Well, it's happened actually on a couple of occasions
Really?
already.
Wow.
And what they do is they'll then, it's usually an American reporting, or sort of Belizean reporting something. So the tip will then be sent to a coordinator in the relevant country.
Okay.
So it finds the right home eventually, but that's you try to avoid that.
So, the key message right now is that the app is available. You can download it to your Android phone or your Apple
device,
phone.
yes.
But if you don't have a smartphone, you can also just use the website.
Yes,
Correct.
And
You go onto a
P3
computer,
tips.
Yeah.
correct, and you just go in exactly the same. Go into the web browser. You type P3 tips. It'll call up there.
P3tips.com.
Right. It's whatever it is.
Yeah,
It's .com. That's right. And you'll see this exactly the same page.
Yeah.
You type in your login ID, which will be unique. You'll type in the information, submit the tip, and then you'll log out at the end. It's important to log out, so if anybody else is using your computer, they won't see you that you're in there, and that's it. Again, it's very easy, and it's anonymous. That's the key thing.
Yeah.
People will not know who you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And you can submit tips on any crime that you suspect is taking place, that you know is taking place, that you've seen taken place. And I do appreciate what you said about child abuse, because that's always a sensitive one for people as well.
Yes.
And imagine, even if it doesn't go to a conviction, you can completely change
Have
the
it
course of a
investigated,
child's
have
life.
the human services, police.
And what we
get
want
involved.
is everybody to download it. And we actually want all big organisations, government employers to tell their staff, load it up.
Yeah.
Because the more people have got it, the more chance we've got of catching a crime
Definitely.
and finding solutions.
And it's
So there's
completely
an option
free.
for white collar crime too?
It doesn't specifically say that, but it's under other, and you can submit what you want. Yeah.
And actually,
No, I mean,
it was
you
brought
have
up.
issues with police extortion and
Actually,
Correct,
it was brought up last night by the CEO of National
Security. Yeah. That's right, yeah.
Mr. Lovell, because we did an official launch event at the Biltmore last night, and he brought up that the fact is that the app is available for people to provide reports if there is any wrongdoing by police officers, and the person who receives the tip is not working for the police.
Yeah.
He works on behalf of Crime Stoppers, and then liaises with the relevant department in the police. So in terms of internal affairs or whatever necessary entity, that information will be passed on for investigation.
Definitely. This is a win-win situation here, and it's completely free to download. So just download it. Everybody should have it. And this is our best way of solving things in our country, solving crime.
Correct.
awesome.
Awesome indeed.
All right. So all of us have a part to play in addressing the crime situation. Crime Stoppers has helped us in being able to give us a platform, a phone number to be able to do our part as well. 922 if you want to do the traditional phone call.
From
or
any phone in the country.
is there a charge?
No,
Free.
Yeah.
So 922 and it goes to Miami, and they will facilitate the information, or do it by yourself by downloading the app P3. Or using the website P3 Tips, and you can send that information right off your phone, your tablet, or your computer.
All right.
Gentlemen, thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the invite.
All
All
right.
right. We're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, it will be for tips for Christmas painting.